Good evening. Good evening. All right, y'all. As we always do, welcome into another episode of Tiger Talk with some Clemson gentlemen. Um, Tonight we're blessed to have a special guest back with us. Um, Greg Buckner is back with us tonight, and we're hoping that Harold Jameson will be able to join us in a while. If so, we'll bring him in at that point in time. But as we always do, we'll start out with you know asking each other how y'all are doing. Coach C, Coach G, I'm asking you to go first, buddy. How's how's life out there in the big town or big Milwaukee?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wasn't. Not many of us gonna say it's a big town, right? So just go with Milwaukee, right?
Hey, now keep in mind now, well, Jeff knows what I'm talking about. Jeff's from Barron, I'm from Tuberville, and I bet you money you could put Milwaukee on the map and put both of our people in that one group.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I'm from Hopkinsville, Kentucky, so we could probably put all three of our towns in Milwaukee, but most people still wouldn't consider Milwaukee was big. They just say we're tiny. Yeah, but it's cool. We got a little snow, a little bad weather coming through, but other than that, it's fine. I'm still enjoying being in the NBA and having an opportunity to coach and teach the game, so that's fine. But like right now, it's pretty bad weather, but you get used to it when you live in Milwaukee. I need to get to the South one day and enjoy that sun that you guys are enjoying.
Yeah, yeah. All right, Jeff. How about you, bud?
Oh man,
How's
it's
life been?
been a good week, busy week, but it's been good. Found out a little while ago that we're doing e-learning tomorrow. Different reason than you have, Buck. We got tornadoes supposed to come through tomorrow, it's been a good week and looking forward to another good but busy week again.
Well, my voicemail said we are watching the weather closely, and we will let you know if we are going to go or if we're going to postpone or go to e-learning or leave early. So at 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, mark this
Yeah,
down. 5 o'clock in the morning, I'll get a phone call.
yeah,
We're going to e-learning.
yeah. Right,
That's
right.
how it normally does. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't know if with a tornado coming through, you might not have no electricity to do e-learning either. Anyway, right?
yeah, yeah.
Just sleep in. Yeah,
Hey, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I plan to do, Buck. I
yeah,
plan to sleep in.
yeah.
Look here, y'all. They have it so much easier than we had it. Okay,
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
for sure.
for starters, they now a 60 is passing and a 70 I think is a C.
Yeah,
All
Yeah.
right, and then I can tell you, I still remember there was a post a while back on Facebook. It said, um, "Keep your head down. There's a tornado out." And by the way, we're having pizza at lunch.
right,
I mean, tell me
right.
that y'all
Yeah,
remember.
But
and
Freddie,
nobody's missing school when we had pizza.
hey, that's that good square
Yeah,
pizza now.
tornado, snowstorm,
Oh
it
yeah,
didn't
it
matter.
was.
We was going to school. Yeah,
That's
Look
right.
here, that and bacon bits.
yeah,
You were looking forward to. If they didn't have salad on that Friday, you were in
yeah.
trouble because that was the only way you had any kind of meat on the pizza other than the cheese. So yeah,
Right.
yeah. I know I'm old. I get it. All right. Look here, man. It's great to have you back on here, man. It's
Thank you.
uh, you know, it, the last time we talked, we were heading into ACC play, and
Yep.
everything seemed to go pretty good up until through the California trip.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah.
Um, only us and Duke had beaten both of those schools on that road trip
Yep.
to that point, and kind of I don't know. I'm not gonna say the wheels fell off, but we had some flat tires when we came back.
Yeah.
And any thoughts on that? I mean, you saw it like we did, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had some unluck, some bad luck, I should say. You go out there, you play well, you're on this kind of natural high, right? And then you
Yeah,
come back. I think it was, excuse me, what was it NC State, Florida State, I think, Wake Forest, and maybe Duke, right? And the Duke was for like
mhm,
I think for number one at the time, and
yeah,
and just some bad luck, right? Just couldn't make some shots in some crucial moments against those other three schools that, we come in favorite, thinking we're gonna get things going on the right track, and it just goes against you. It just tells you how tough the league is, and how lucky you got to be at times to continue to have great success. That's why you got to give, you got to tip your hat and give, a pat on the back to how good Duke has been consistently. Even with the great talent, they still find a way to get through tough times, and luck seems to bounce their way. And for us in those 4 games, it just didn't bounce our way.
Yeah. Jet, what do you think? I mean, anything
Oh
you
yeah,
saw?
that was a rough stretch, Coach. I want to ask you this: the travel, going out west and coming back. I know you've done a lot of it
Yeah,
with your career in college. What sort of impact does that have on those kids? And they're still kids. I mean, they're
yeah,
18 to 22, 23. What
yeah.
sort of impact does that have?
I think it's huge. We talk about this even in the NBA. It's like you look at the schedule, you see if you're on the East Coast, you see when you're going out west, and if you're on the West Coast, you see when you're going out east. Like like those 3-4 game trips. Maybe
Hmm.
even sometimes 4 or 5 game trips when you go out there and you come back. You always say that first home game is probably a schedule loss, is what we call a schedule loss, and we try to get our guys to be more focus, and we would try to be more intentional as a staff on how we're going to attack that team when we're coming home. So it is tough for sure. And for kids who probably haven't been through that, I mean, how many of those kids has probably been all the way over there to the West Coast? Then have
Hmm.
to take I mean, I think Ace told me they came back that same night after that second game, and they get in at like 5:30 in the morning or something like that, some crazy time. And I mean, I know we was college kids, we never really stayed out till 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those guys'
Well,
bodies don't know how to react. Their mental don't know how to react. You had it, maybe if you lose one of those games, you come back a little more focused, but you go out there and sweep those games, and you got your chest out. And I know that for a fact. They felt good about themselves.
Hmm.
And then sometimes you come in, you play. It was a lesser team, but I think it was NC State was that first game back, if I'm not mistaken. But NC
Virginia
State
Tech.
is
Virginia Tech.
they got a bunch of dogs, right? They
Yeah.
really go at you. So you get hit in the mouth a couple times, you're down, and then next thing you know, you're like, oh, we got to fight. I didn't realize we was fighting today. And
Yeah.
then you lose the game that you shouldn't lose, and then it kind of snowballs, which I think then you have Duke at Duke. That's a tough game. You know what I mean? Even if you're fully healthy and just, you've been at home for a week and preparing for them and you had no games, that's a tough game to go into Cameron and try to win. And then now you start to second guess yourself. You're like, oh boy. Now those 2 games get away. I think it was the Wake and Florida State game, if I'm not mistaken. And
Yeah.
so it's tough mentally for sure. And I think everybody has to, it's tough to prepare for that because you don't get to do that often.
Yeah. Well, and I can tell you that I may be off by one or so, but it's still close. 4-10 record over the last 2 years for teams that have gone out
Yeah.
west and come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That record is 4-10 on that next game, and let's be honest, we didn't get any breaks there either because we came back like you said, and what 2 days later we
Yeah.
play the 7 o'clock game, not the 9 o'clock game. So
Right.
you know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, hey, you got to chalk it up, and
Yeah.
I can understand why it would be called a loss.
Yeah,
That's
right. A scheduled loss for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Times that happen.
But
It's almost like, and I think it's tough for the California teams to come out west. I mean, out east. I'm sorry, go back because they got to do it a few times. But it's almost like ACC when you go out west as one of those teams. When you come back, that should be quote unquote your bye time. You should get 4 or 5 days off so you can readjust your body and your schedule, your
Hmm.
body schedule, I should say, so you can get ready to play that next game. Because I bet, like you
yeah,
said, 4-10, that's kind of tough. And it's ACC. It's already a difficult situation having teams all the way on the West Coast. They probably need to figure out how they can adjust that schedule so it can be a level playing field when you come back home. You shouldn't
Hey,
get punished for that.
hey, Coach, I know one of those four. Duke had the pleasure of going and winning two out west, and then they got to
Of
bye before they
yeah,
had to play the
course,
next
yeah,
drive.
that's Duke. Yeah,
yep, yep.
yeah,
Makes you say,
Imagine
yeah, yeah.
that.
That's what I mean by that luck that they get, right?
yeah,
Hey,
It's
I
crazy how
mean
much
it.
luck they get. Them in Carolina, man, drives me crazy. I was telling my
Oh,
wife, what I mean, I was hoping our guys go out there and beat Duke. And my wife's from Texas, so she doesn't understand the ACC, background. I was like,
hmm,
Duke they're trying to be the #1 overall seed in the tournament. We just beat Carolina. It's gonna be tough for us to beat Duke and those officials. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be that they ain't gonna want us to beat Duke and Carolina back-to-back nights.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there again in the conference, I mean, in the tournament, you end up, you end up with having to play North Carolina and Duke to
Right.
get to the championship game. But like I think I told Jeff last week, um, the other side of it is we've never won an ACC championship.
Right.
This would have been the year that it would have been nice to have done it because if you beat North Carolina and Duke to get there,
Yeah.
no one can say, "Oh yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right. Yeah. You didn't
you
play
know,
You
nobody.
didn't
Can't
back
use
your
that
that's
way
right,
in. That's
excuse.
right.
Right.
that's so
Yeah.
yeah, Duke and North Carolina are in a different bracket, and
Yeah.
you
Right.
know,
Right. Yeah. They beat each other up. Yeah.
that's right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it never ceases to amaze me
Yeah.
how it's funny how when Clemson was at the top in football, we didn't seem to get the luck that Duke and North Carolina get in basketball.
Basketball, not at all.
Yeah,
Yeah. Not
you
at all.
hey, I
Yeah.
can understand where the conspiracy theorists come from and are
Yeah.
going to
Right.
get their.
Yeah, but it is what it is. When you've played, been a part of 30 plus years of seeing the conspiracy work against you, you have to believe in the conspiracy theory.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. When the proof is in the pudding, it's a
Right.
little hard to overlook
Yeah,
it. I mean, hey, and,
exactly.
but and we end up as an 8 seed. Now, and I don't let's don't sell what we did or what they did in the tournament, in the ACC tournament, short either. They did really well. I
Mhm.
mean, um, going into the tournament, I don't think anybody saw them shooting lights out against the first two opponents, one of which was North Carolina.
Hmm.
Um, you know, and so they got the ship righted, and I'm hoping that it was righted at the right time. In other words, that we didn't peak too early. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, it's funny how, as a coach, my mind looks at things. I thought that we played really good. We played extremely good defense in both of those games. And I think a little bit more defense also as well. And Duke just didn't make those shots. But our defense in those first two games, I thought carry over to our offense and helped us get easier shots, get, things like that. And I think that's the way you have to do in those tournament situations. And next, going to the next, hopefully 3 weeks in these tournament situations, you got to find ways to get easy baskets, turn your defense and the offense. And then that makes your half court offense even better. It makes your shots be more confident when you're shooting those shots because you've seen a couple layups go in on a break and things like that. Um, I've talked to my son, and he feels that he felt going into the tournament though that the guys was confident. They understood that they had let a few games get by, right?
Mhm.
But they never doubted themselves. And I think it's the same way going into the tournament. They had into the NCAA tournament, had a great weekend. But this group, from my understanding, is not satisfied with having a great weekend at the ACC by winning 2 games in the ACC, letting Duke slip through their fingers. I think they want to get, and then, I'm sure when they see that North Carolina gets a better seating than they do, who,
Yeah.
you could easily say we could have beat North Carolina at North Carolina, you know what I mean? Then we go and beat them. I mean, we took care of them until the end of the game, right?
Oh yeah,
I think
oh yeah,
this Clemson team feels like they're a better team than North Carolina, so they still have something to prove when they go out there and get that 8 seed and have to play 8-9 game, and then have to play, in the second round potentially Florida. And I've been around some of those Florida kids. Those kids are good and confident, and
Mhm.
so I think we got a good bracket. But I still think we can come out of the, and have a good showing against Iowa and come out of that one and see what happens against Florida. I think those kids in Clemson are really confident that they can, quote unquote, shock the world.
Yeah. Jeff, I mean, what do you think?
I do. I think we've got a chance with a pretty good matchup against Iowa. Just a little bit of research that I've seen. I think, of course, if you're able to impose your will and play your
Mm-hmm.
style of basketball, then I think the tournament format plays towards Clemson's style. Coach, I want to ask you a question real quick. You mentioned the ace. Um, I saw him earlier in the season. Seemed like he struggled a little bit shooting from three, and
Yeah,
really picked that up later on in the season. Uh, what can you tell us anything about what happened as far
yeah.
as him making that change and picking that part of his game up?
Yeah, it's funny because me and him both talked about it. The best part of his game is shooting, and it's been that way his whole life. You know what I mean? So, and it was shocking for him and myself to see him not make those shots. And he talked about it. A lot of his shots was in and out. It wasn't like they was bricks and like they was crooked and all off.
Yeah.
They was always straight and they was in and out. So we both knew that Ace is an extremely. If I had Ace's work ethic, and I'm not bragging on him because he's my son. If I had his work ethic, I would have been an all-star NBA player. You know what I mean? Because he works his ass off, and we talk about that. Like you've put in the work, so just keep doing what you're doing, and success will happen for you. Your shot will start to fall. You'll start to play better. You'll start to be more confident. I always tell this in line. I always use it. Trust your work. Trust your work. So I think as coach started to trust him as well and allow him to play through some mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
he began to be confident, not looking over his shoulder, thinking he's going to come out for every little thing, and it showed on his play in the second half of the game, second half of the season, and we only expect more from him, and he expects more from himself. So I think he's kind of got. Hopefully, I mean, I don't want to jinx him. That he got those shooting jitters out, and he forgot, and I forgot as well. He didn't play all last year. You know what I mean? And it's a shoulder injury on his right shoulder. So I mean, Ace is like it's going to take some time to get back, and I think he finally realized that and relaxed and just started letting it happen for him.
But you can easily see just watching him play, and I haven't seen him play in person this year, but just on television, he is very very confident, and he can I think be that go-to guy for Clemson going forward in the tournament and going forward after this season, whatever happens there. Uh,
Yeah.
he has really turned it on the last third of the season, I would say. That's great to see.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think he's built for that. He's a natural leader. He loves the moment. I mean, I think if coach was like to say, "Okay, Ace is your team. You got to go do what we need you to do to help us win." I think he'll love that situation, love the moment, and make the. And he's not one of those guys that's going to just jack up a bunch of shots. He is aggressive to score, but
Yeah.
Ace is one of the things that I've taught him as a kid, playing through AAU and even in high school a little bit. Is like make the right play. You know what I mean? Don't be one of those guys who's just jacking up the basketball. Coaches love kids, players that make the right play. Obviously Ace's dream is to play in the NBA. I said, well, we love as guys, not guys that shoot a bunch of basketballs to get 20. You took 20 shots. We love guys that's going to get 15, seven rebounds and 4 assists, and potentially could have had 9 assists, but the guys missed the shots. Be a real-rounded player and also play on the other side of the basketball. So I think Ace would love if it was his quote unquote his show next year, and I think he would relish, and I think the team would do well because I just know what kind of makeup he has, and I know what kind of work ethic he has.
Coach, can I ask you one other question?
Sure.
Carter Welling got hurt in that first round of the ACC tournament.
Yep.
How does the team, the players and the coaching staff, how do you adjust to that? And they had to do it sort of on the fly before North Carolina, and now they've got a couple days to prepare and get ready for Iowa on Friday. What sorts of things go into making the adjustment to losing a starter that late in the season?
Yeah, I think it's kind of easy and it's kind of hard, right? It's easier because it happened in the tournament, and you just we just got to keep going. We can't worry about that right now.
Right.
But it's also hard because that's a big piece of what you do and a big piece of your puzzle, right? So you have to adjust. And now I think you'll take advantage of it now when you come home, and it kind of hits you like, oh, shoot, we don't have Carter. Like, okay, now we got to make these adjustments. Now, what did he give us that we don't have? Like, okay, so now, Dylan has to give a little more. Ace has to give a little more. You know what I mean? Butter has to do a little more. Not all of you can't replace them. Everybody has to do a little more. But now we have 3-4 days of practice that we can get that in where you understand the little more you have to do. It was so quick in the ACC tournament, you don't have time to think about it. But when you get on that bus going on, like, oh, we don't have him. Now we got to adjust. But we got time in practice to make those adjustments.
The good thing about this team, though, is, and we've talked about it several times. Yeah, he was the second leading scorer, but at the same time, this team has seemed to have another guy every night. You
Right.
know,
Right.
last year it felt like we had to go through one player,
Yeah.
and if one player didn't do well, then we were in trouble. Whereas this year it hasn't. I mean, how many times have we had a game, different games where another player is being talked about being the leading scorer,
Yeah.
um, and so there's no easy way to do it, but it's got to make it a little bit easier. I guess
Right.
I would say.
Yeah, I think
Um,
so. I think we can, as an NBA coach or a coach, period, I should say, you love when it's one guy that you got to slow down. You know what I mean? Like you can put a scheme together. We're gonna double team him every time, and or a guy that doesn't like to pass, we're gonna make him pass it, or a guy who only likes to pass, we're gonna make him shoot. You know what I mean? Those things. But when you got 3, 4 guys that can lead a team in scoring and has proven that they can lead the team in scoring because they've done it over and over throughout this year,
mhm.
that only makes you a versatile team. That only makes you a hard out because they all understand their role. They all understand that this may not be my night because of the matchup, right? But let me feed him because it's sweet over there. He can score on him at any time. And then when they have to double, he gets off of it because he's not selfish. He believes in the rest of his teammates because he knows that they've proven they can score as well. And then that makes you a better team. And then it never gets you out of sorts on the defensive side of the ball because nobody's pouting because they're not touching the ball. You know what I mean? Everybody
Yeah.
understands. This is what we've done all year. Yeah, they're not mad because a Kawhi Leonard is shooting all the basketball, so they half-ass run back on defense, or a Kobe back in the day. It's like now they all say, no, okay, it's his turn. Next time it'll be my turn. We gotta get back in defense and be a complete team. That's
Yeah.
why you hear in those interviews, those guys always talking about we are truly a family, and being around them and listening to Ace on FaceTime and stuff. I truly believe those guys is a tight knit group, and they really believe that they're a family, and they will do anything for each other's success and not just for their own success.
And it shows. I mean, even those of us that don't get that personal, saying the FaceTime and stuff like that,
Yeah,
that the parents, coaches do. It, it's one of those things where you can't miss it,
right,
and that's the one thing that I've really enjoyed about it. And here's the funny part: no one saw this coming. You
right,
know,
right.
um, I mean, it's really interesting to see how Coach Brownell has brought this team together, and you know, it's amazing in this day and age to
Yeah.
see some of the stuff that we've seen.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think one of the things that coach is really a good basketball coach, right? He really understands the X and O's. But one of the things that as before obviously I've been a part of the program, but I haven't been inside the program in over 2 decades or plus, right?
yeah,
But being inside the program now, coach really values character. It's not about the talent; it's about the character. And when you have great character as a guy and great character as a group, you're going to overachieve more than what
hmm
people on the outside see. Like, how in the hell is they doing that with that talent? Because that's what people will say, right? But it's the character piece of it. Like
hmm
everybody is there for one reason. Like guys are not there to get the NIL check and then bounce to the next place to get a bigger NIL check.
Yeah.
Guys are there
yeah,
because RJ came back, right? He understood it. He left for a minute and came back. He's like, you know what? That's a special fucking place. Excuse my French, but that's a special place at Clemson. And Coach is a
hmm
special person, and the guys that he brings into Clemson makes it even more special. And those guys really believe in that. That high character that group has only shows on the court, and that's why they're having more success than what people would think because they don't have those quote unquote 5-star guys that everybody thinks you got to have to win.
yeah. Well, not every team gets the All American or the
Right,
McDonald's All Americans like Duke does. Just saying.
right, right,
And there again, you think about this thing. Think about how many times he's competed with Duke
yep,
with lesser, and I don't want it to sound because you're saying lesser players, but what you're saying is lesser stars. You know
right,
what I'm
Yeah.
right,
saying?
right, right, right.
And so yeah, I mean, hey, I don't think anybody 4 years ago saw Coach Brownell still being there. And so much less the winningest coach in Clemson basketball history. So, you
Yeah,
know, I've met him a couple times, and that's the funny part about it. What you see on during games is pretty much what you see at the the Ipte suppers and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And it's funny because he and Dabo feed off of each other so well until it's easy to see how he's been successful.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, when you've been together with somebody, I mean, I think Dabo's been there 18 years, maybe 19,
yep,
something like that, and
Yeah.
I think
yep,
Brad's been there what 16 or 17.
that's
And,
right.
so and they probably had 50 of those dinners a year. Yeah, it adds up. The
Oh
chemistry
yeah,
it's easy to have chemistry. You know what I mean? And understand. Look, when I say this, boom, 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 like we got to get this Iptay money now. We got to get these
that's
guys to
oh yeah,
donate. Yeah,
oh
yeah.
yeah,
Don't you mess this up, Brad, and you either, Dabo. Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah. I need a new building. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
and they're both good guys. You know what I mean? They're both good guys, and both of them
oh yeah,
understand that
oh
those
yeah.
both programs are vital to the success of the athletics at Clemson, and athletics
Mhm.
of any school is vital to the success of the school. If you got great athletics, other regular non-athletic athletes want to come to that school because a lot of times of how good your athletics are.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's no
Um,
doubt. You see a school make a run, and those college applications go up.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
oh
heard that
yeah,
I
happened in
like that.
Alabama when Saban got there. That's why they said it's like obviously he was winning, but they paid him so much crazy money because they like their applications went up like 10,000% when he
Oh
got
yeah.
there from winning in football. You know what I mean? And I'm sure Clemson had some uptick too with Dabo in football. And then when we would go to the Elite Eight, I was like, I'm sure we had some more uptick. So it's
Oh
vital.
yeah.
hmm
Athletics is vital to it's the lifeline. I would probably think in universities these days, especially with the TV
oh
money
yeah,
and things like that. Yeah.
And coach,
yeah.
that's across the board. I told I was a principal at the high school here in Turbeville for a year or so ago, and I told them that the front porch of the school is the athletic program.
hmm
Yeah.
Unfortunately, people don't come out and watch a kid do a science experiment. But we can
Right,
get
right,
people on
right,
campus for a
right.
football game, a basketball game, or whatever else. So that's important. And it's the same thing at the college level,
Right.
I think.
Yeah,
It's
Coach,
so many
funny.
people they say, I mean, so many non-athletes, really hate athletics and talk bad. The scholars that's doing the
Yeah,
teaching pieces, they got straight A's and all that. They like these athletes. It's like, yeah, I mean, I understand that they get a free ride and all that stuff, but these athletes keep the doors open to a lot of these places. You know what I mean?
oh yeah,
So,
well, all right,
yeah,
and I mean, Jeff said that about the high school. Same high school. I took over as the president of the booster club over back in 2010. Ended up having a meeting with the superintendent because we were trying to discuss, what. And she looks at me and says, "I'm just going to tell you. I understand what you're doing, but it wouldn't bother me one bit if the athletic program folded its door or closed its doors."
yeah,
I said, "Doc, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, if you close the athletic program down, your school will not stay. Oh yes, our school would do great.
yeah, right,
We have the best academics." I said, "I can promise you, Joe Blow, who plays football, doesn't get to play football. He and his three siblings are going to a private school or another high school, a public
yeah,
school that have athletics." I
yeah,
oh yeah.
said,
right.
even with a losing football team right now, um, you don't want to venture into that.
No, right, yeah, especially not in South Carolina.
Oh
Oh yeah.
no.
Yeah, now and like how arrogant and that's the thing. Like us as on the athletic side, you can't be arrogant because you got to have education. We don't understand that.
Mhm.
And on the educational side, you can't be too arrogant about the athletics too because they go hand in hand. But
That's right.
let's not kid ourselves. They don't pay. The only thing that they pay the people see on TV for academics is the national spelling bee. You know what I mean? Like they don't see the science competition or the debate. They pay for football, basketball, baseball. You know what I mean? All of those. That's why the TV money and the revenue is so big. It ain't
Oh yeah.
because of the educational piece. Let's not be, so arrogant that we don't see that. You got enough
Oh
sense.
yeah.
You're a doctor for a reason. Let's have some common sense as well.
Yeah.
The reason you were able to get that doctor is because some athlete was helping
At
along
the
the
school
way,
that you was
even though
at,
you don't admit it.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh
Yeah, they
yeah.
forget about that piece. Yeah, yeah.
That's
It's because I
right.
was so smart. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't care. And like you said, it goes hand in hand, and that's
Yeah.
that's the that's the thing about it. I mean, look, I don't sit here and tell you I don't keep up with how Clemson's doing academically, and I love seeing that, that the that we've got great numbers when it comes to academics, GPA, and all that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like you said, that is not what's going to get a player to come to you. It's not, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's,
Yeah. Right. Right.
um,
Right. Right.
but at the same time, Coach Brownell, Coach Sweeney, Coach Rittman, all of them, I'm thankful that they are making sure that these kids are getting a good education to go along with the possibility of them going pro.
Right.
Um, because I mean, Coach Sweeney, I've done some research on it myself, and he is dead on the money, man. That it is. I mean, I mean, you've got to be the great of the great to make it to that next level.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and I guess you could say I've got a personal side to that too, because my cousin, um, he played at Francis Marion, left-handed pitcher, gets drafted by the Cincinnati Reds, and makes it to Double A, and he used it to get his education.
Right.
He's high up with Enterprise now, but he told me whenever he finally hung it up, he told me, he said, I just couldn't afford to do it anymore. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, well, I mean, we're getting $100 a game, and the
Right.
motel
Right.
rooms are $300.
Yeah.
For a cheapo motel. He said it's not, you know, and so it's a hard thing to do. People don't understand that. They really
No,
don't.
yeah, I had this conversation with a couple coaches a couple days ago. Actually, we was talking about, we have to make sure we watch what we say, right? Because you get some guys, you see some guys on other teams, like, man, that guy sucks, and you have to say, hold. He's one of 450 players in the world. Like, he doesn't suck. You know what I mean? He's still one of the best players in the world. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he may not be scoring this and he may not be great and all this in this area, but he does not suck. And it's like so many guys. I remember before I got to the NBA, growing up, I was like, oh, that guy's gonna be a great NBA player. And then when you get, and I was like, he didn't make it to the NBA. It's like, no way, I'm gonna make it to the NBA. Things like that. It's like you get to the NBA and you see why people are in the NBA. And I'm sure it's the same way in football. Obviously, most of us, we got to get lucky and be in the right situation, but there's little details in being a pro. It's not always about the talent, because like you said, there's so much talent in athletics out here, but you have to be great at the details. If you're not a LeBron, if you're not a Kobe, that's special,
Mhm.
ultra talent. The rest of us are role players for a reason, and you got to get lucky and pay attention to the details. And normally those guys were really good in academics. You know what I mean? Because they
Mhm.
understood the
Yeah.
details of that. So again, it goes hand in hand. You know what I mean? It goes hand in hand.
I
Coach, can I?
apologize, y'all. I just got that message. I told y'all to get at 5 o'clock. We've gone to you learning. So that's what the thing is going on. But
Can I ask Coach something? And this is
yeah.
kind of off of what we were on, but going back to the week and preparation for the tournament, the turnaround between a Friday and a Monday, and I'm gonna go ahead and speak it into existence. We're gonna beat Iowa and take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
What's the preparation like? And I know you've gone through this in the NCAA tournament
Yeah.
before, but what if you can give us a behind the scenes look at what it's like for those guys when that game ends Friday night with our big or Friday afternoon with our big W?
Yeah.
What's it going to be like leading up to Sunday? Most likely play in Florida.
Now, and I'll tell you this, like it's been 30 plus years, right? And when I was young, you would hear people say, "Yeah, I've forgot more basketball than you'll ever know." You know what I mean? One of those things, right?
Yeah.
And I'm at that point where I have forgotten a lot of basketball in a lot of situations, right? But I would think, if I can remember correctly, when we had our run at that Sweet 16, like that first night. That first game, you was really heavily prepared for that first game, because you got probably 3 days. Back then, it was only 64 teams. So, and everybody started on that Thursday. You found out Sunday. So you got 3.5, 4 days to get ready for that Thursday. And if you played Friday, you had 4.5, 5 days. So you had a lot of prep work for that. But so that was the easy game. But like you said, that second game of the weekend was a tough one. But we had Larry Shire, we had Dennis Felton and Ken McDonald. Those guys were really good at prepping us for the next game, right? So they did all the prep work for both of those teams that we possibly could play that second game. So I think the most important thing is, like, you got to replenish your liquids, especially those heavy minutes guys. Like I remember myself and Big O, we both were cramp guys. Like we just sweated like pigs going back in. So they had to just fill us with a lot of extra Gatorade and water in those 24 hours. And Terrell was one of those guys. He seemed like he never got cramps, and he went forever and ever and ever and ever. But so it's just different. Like whoever you were, like us three guys was the main horses, so they had to make sure that our bodies was replenished with the fluids, right? So we would be ready for that next game. And then the game plan piece, it's not as in detail as even in the regular season, which is unfortunate, right? Because you would like to be detailed in the tournament, but you can't be. You just got to know who the shooters are, who's their main guy. And then, luckily when I was there, Coach Barnes had an excellent defensive system for different scenarios. And we just picked out the playbook that this defensive system is what we're going to use with this group. And it worked out well for us in that second game that we got to play. I think that was in Kansas City, maybe. Maybe he was in Kansas City and got to San Antonio. So it's all about, replenishing your fluids so you can be healthy and sore free and don't catch a bunch of cramps for that second game.
Is that a big advantage for Clemson with having a deep rotation?
Yeah, I think so. I think now obviously you want to have some talent. You know what I mean? Yeah. Rotation with no talent don't help you. But if you got a confident group with some talent and some experience, I was looking at the roster the other day. I was talking to my wife, and I was like, hey, they got a lot of seniors, and they had, I don't think they had any sophomores, right, on this team. And it was like maybe two juniors and young guys. So you got seniors that's playing, and I think Ace and I can't remember if it was another freshman. I know obviously Zach was playing early, but like now, so it's like they got guys that played a lot of games and been in different situations and different scenarios and played in the tournaments and things like that. So they got experience, and that's going to help. Unfortunately, I'm sure next year when Coach replenishes his guys with older guys through the portal, we'll have a similar situation. But like potentially, you could be in trouble if you don't have that experience. And luckily, we do have the experience because he's got guys out the portal who has experience is going to help us with those types of situations.
And we appreciate. To tell you a little while ago, we appreciate Bart chiming in a little while ago about the question about Welling. But all right. So you brought up something earlier, or y'all pointed out something earlier about defense. A true testament of Coach Brownell being a defensive coach. Keep in mind that we went the last 7 minutes against Wake Forest without a field goal and ended up winning.
Yeah.
So that in itself tells you that they were playing some great defense. We also I want to say we played 10 to 15 guys that night. It was a huge number. I know 15 is probably a little bit too high, but yeah, I know that we played 10 players that night.
Yeah.
Which, was, to me, was a little different than what we saw during the regular season. Maybe I missed something. I just don't remember us. It was almost like we were having a line shift, a line change every time we had a break. And I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think Coach probably understood that, like, this potentially could be a long weekend for us, right? So we got to make sure we get guys in early, get guys some reps that may not use some reps, because that tournament environment is a little different. So you got to get those guys. Let's get them in early. Let's keep that rotation. Let's try to keep our guys fresh because, they could have potentially had to play 4 games in 4 nights, right? So that, that's just tough on anybody's body. So you got to go a little deeper in your rotation. You get the double bye, it's a little different. But when you have to play all those games, you got to make sure. And you gave these guys scholarships for a reason, right? So let's take advantage of these scholarship athletes. So, even if it's 5 to 8 minutes in one game, and he gets another 7 to 12 the next game. He has that experience, and it keeps our our quote unquote main guys fresh, so they can finish the game strong. That was the one thing that I remember. And I kicked myself in the butt for this, that I could have been like the all-time leader in minutes played and all these things. But my senior year, for some reason, because I ended up getting around a lot of NBA guys, they talking about keep your body fresh. And I would take myself out my senior year just to try to stay fresh. And Terrell, he was like I said, he was a machine. He wouldn't do that. I think he ended up being an all-time leading minutes player in Clemson history. But, like, you need to be fresh. And Coach would get mad at me. He's like, "Hey, Buck, look who's behind you. You got to get your ass back out here." But Coach Brownell, he's done a great job at having guys that can play and we was a little top heavy when I played, where a coach would only play 6, 7, 8 at the most because he just didn't, trust the guys behind us. Good thing that Coach Brad does, and that's why those guys had, they won 2 games in the tournament and was able to potentially, could have won a third game if the ball could have bounced a little better for him against Duke.
Yeah. Um, Speaking of Terrell, I know we talked the last time you were on about the tournament in July, and just so y'all know, my nephew and I are registered, so we will be
Okay,
there on
yeah,
the 26th.
appreciate that.
Talked to Coach Buck today, Coach Buckingham today, and
Yeah,
um, the I put in on the 28th, and for some whatever reason, it was showing originally that it went through. I never got a notification that anything had come out of my account, so
okay,
I started looking into it and couldn't figure out. Well, tried to re-register today. It wouldn't let me, so I had to call him. And he said, "Oh goodness, it's locked out." So just giving y'all a heads up, the $150 deal is still good through this month. So
okay,
if anybody else is interested,
yeah.
um, you can join in. And I think he said 100 former players, basketball and football, or he's got signed up already to come. So should
Wow,
be
yeah,
a
it's getting bigger and
good
bigger each year. He does a great
yeah,
job. He really does a great job. Yeah, it's a great event.
yeah,
I wish not only more football and basketball players. I just wish more alumni would come. It would be a big deal. It'd make it huge,
yeah.
and he does it for a great reason and a great cause. So you know, especially as old geezers, you know what I
Oh yeah.
mean?
Oh
Yeah, it's
yeah.
getting. Obviously we lost Eldon Campbell this year, so it's just like
Hmm.
it's getting to that point where we're going to miss some cheap people and you would like to see some of those guys that you came into Clemson with that's non-athletes. You know what I mean? He's like, hey man,
Yeah.
you remember we had that study group together and you fell out the chair, things like that. And you're like, oh, you know what? I did. No wonder I got this big uh thing poking out of my back. Now I was wondering how I got that. Yeah, yeah. When you got hit over the head with the bottle because he was drunk talking to another guy's girl. Yeah, those stories. I mean, it was tragic at the time, but so funny now when you go
Yeah.
back. Yeah, man. Yeah, they had to take you out in handcuffs. You remember that? Yeah, yeah, yeah. You couldn't walk across the street. I mean, those are good times that you wish you could talk about with more people and more often because we're all over the country now. Some people all over the world. You know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
wish you get as many people back for those events.
Yeah. I agree. But all right. We have gone from 7:30 to 8:16. I mean we can keep on talking if y'all want to. I just
Yeah, I got
um,
nothing to do. Yeah, so if you got any more questions, I'm open. I enjoy talking basketball and enjoyed hanging out with Clemson folks. So it's whatever you guys need to do.
Jeff, he's snowed in, and he's realized now that
Yeah, yeah.
we both got e-learning
Yeah.
days tomorrow.
Hey,
He's
let me
like,
tell you
hey,
something, Freddie.
hey.
Even if it wasn't snow, it's still Milwaukee, brother. It ain't like it's Miami or LA. There's a whole lot to do out there. It is Milwaukee. Yeah. We can have sunshine and I'd still be snowed in.
Look here, man. That's the good thing about it. When you get to talk to people and you find this stuff out, because I'll be honest with you, up until I found out that you were in Milwaukee, I had no clue what I knew about the Milwaukee Brewers,
Yeah.
okay, knew about the Milwaukee Bucks, all
Yeah.
right, but nothing else, man.
Yeah. What
So
about the cheese and the beer? You didn't know nothing about that?
uh, I don't drink. Well, you got to keep in mind now, I've never drank. So
Okay.
I'm probably the only 52-year-old out there that can actually say that I've not even tried it.
Yeah.
Um, and I'll be honest with you, um, when I go somewhere and they ask me what kind of cheese I want on my burger, it's American.
It's
I
American,
mean,
right? Yeah. Keep
I,
it simple. Yeah.
Got it.
I'm
You're
pretty
like, what
simple,
other cheese
okay?
goes on a burger? It's American cheese. Yeah.
Somebody was talking. We at the school the other summer talking. Yeah, we were trying this thing and we had some Gouda, and I'm like, "What is that?" And they're like,
Yeah.
"It's cheese." Say, you don't know? I'm like, I ain't got a clue, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
shredded what? I don't know. I mean,
Right.
yeah, I'm not. I'll be honest with you. Jeff can vouch for this. I'm as country as they come.
Oh yeah,
Um,
we
yeah,
all are here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And proud of it. And proud of it.
there
Def-
you go. There
def-
you go. Um, it it is what it is, and you know, I don't see myself unless something really changes. Me going on a cruise or me going overseas. I'm happy for those that have. I
You're
mean,
right,
you
right.
know,
Yeah, enjoy.
you
Yeah,
know. So
yeah, yeah. I'm the
I've been up
same
and
way.
down the East
Especially
Coast.
now, the way people hate Americans. Yeah, but it's like, no, I'm gonna stay over here in America.
Yeah, yeah, that,
Yeah. I'm not gonna get lumped in over there with those fools that's over there and get stuck over there, can't get back home. Like, I'm gonna stay right here where I can
that's
drive home if I need to. Yeah.
now you say that it's funny. All right, so it, I was watching something the other day, and they had a clip. It was actually on Facebook. Had a clip. The owner of Fox Television Network, I guess Fox News, all that. He's doing this interview, okay, and he's talking to one of the guys on Fox News, and he tells him, says, "Yeah, I was in Dubai. We were playing golf. We come in on that Friday, and we see the planes coming over us and everything, and then all of a sudden we start hearing these loud explosions." And the guy says, "So what did you do? Did you get?" He said, "No, we finished out our round, and then they told us that you might want to try to find a way back because there's no airports open." He said, "So what did you do?" He said, "Well, we went ahead and finished out our last 18." And I'm like, "Dude, I
Yeah.
mean, come on here. I mean,
War.
but there, all right. For instance, that goes to show you the difference in us common people
Yeah, right.
and people that are
Mhm.
sitting there with million
Elitist.
million
Yeah,
dollar
they
and
are.
Oh
billion
yeah.
dollar statuses, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, that no time to go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Money can't save your life. I don't care how much money you got. Yeah,
You
bombs
are
can blow you.
100% right.
Right. Yeah.
So
Hey,
yeah,
Coach, I want to ask you something. You go fill out a bracket this week, enter a
Yeah,
challenge.
you know what? Yeah, I'll probably fill out 5 brackets.
What's your strategy to fill them out? You a
Yeah,
pro?
one
Give
of
us
my
some.
brackets, I'll pick the favorites, and then when they get, that's never going to happen. There, that's never going to win,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so
okay.
that's just like a waste of time. And then I'll try to look and see, try to find some upsets that watch a few teams that I know isn't as good as their seed is, or some teams that's a little bit better than what their seed is, and go from there. So yeah, I'll probably pick three brackets, fill out 3 brackets, and all of them probably end up with probably the same national champion. It's normally how it is.
How far
I've
you
never
gonna
been
have
any good
Clemson
at it.
go?
Do I?
Clemson, I got Clemson. I haven't went past the Sweet 16 yet because I tried to print it out, but I couldn't figure it out, and my wife was giving me a hard time, like not right now, and then so I just got it. So I haven't, yeah, like you're getting on my nerves about this dang bracket. I was like, come on, baby, and so I think the way Florida's playing right now, I think we can beat Florida. And then I have to look at that bottom half of that bracket. I know that because we probably seem like we probably play either Vanderbilt or Nebraska. I do know Nebraska had a good year. Vanderbilt's playing awesome right now. So I think that'll be a tough, but we will have time to prep for them. So I think we possibly could get, Sweet 16 and potentially Elite Eight. Because one of those number one seeds, like always, is going to lose that first weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, one of them's going to lose. So I'm looking at it like Duke. And Duke could be that team, to be honest with you, if they don't have their guys back. I mean, unfortunately for the ACC, but they could be
Yeah.
if they don't have their guys. But I don't think Ohio State and TCU is that strong, so I think they'll kind of get out of that. Um, Looking down, then there's Florida, then there's Arizona, and then there's Michigan. Um, I've seen Arizona play. I think they're a good team, but I think they could get upset pretty early as well. And Michigan, they're so big and talented, and their roster's highly paid for. So that may
Yep.
be tough for them to be upset with the matchups they have over there with St. Louis and Georgia.
Hmm.
Let me see.
Money.
Villanova, Utah State. Yeah. I mean, I think our 8-9 group is probably the best group of the four. So I think we have an opportunity, whoever wins our game, to beat Florida on that second round.
It seems like Michigan's basketball team is the equivalent of Ohio State's football team in the Big Ten. That's where the money's going.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure, for sure,
Okay,
sure. Yeah,
but
yeah. That guy wouldn't have took that job if there wasn't some money, NIL money promised, and a lot of it,
mhm,
from my understanding. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I'll be honest with you. I'm not good at these because I am horrible when it comes to picking against Clemson. I just
Yeah,
can't do it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
just can't do it.
yeah.
So
And
you
I'll be
got to
that
pitch
same way
them
too
Final
for the next
Four.
few years as well.
Look, if I fill out a bracket, Clemson winning the national
Yeah,
championship.
right, right.
Let me go ahead and tell you. It's just
And somebody's gonna look at that bracket like, what? He
yeah.
had Clemson? Yeah. Yeah. He says, is this football or baseball? Yeah. But this might be gymnastics he think we're picking. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But hey, look here. It's been another good season. All right. I mean, think about this thing. All right, we've had 7 seasons where we finished in the position that we finished in. We were 12-6 overall in the regular season in the ACC.
Mhm.
And see, the 3 or 4 of those seasons, Coach Brownell has been the head coach.
Mhm.
So there again, he's done um, what most people didn't think he could do. Now, you know, what, Coach, what do you think the next step is for him to, I guess getting to that next step? He's been to the Elite Eight. So,
Yeah.
i- is there a path that leads to him being able to get there at
I
Clemson?
mean, I think one in the past, and because it's a one and done type tournament, you got to have some luck, right? You see those teams that, probably should have got beat in the second round and end up going all the way, or
Yeah.
one of those great teams that lose in the second round that everybody knew was going to win the national championship. So you got to get some luck, but also I think not 9 times out of 10, normally the teams that win the NCAA tournament, they have two pros that's vets per se, and then they probably have
Yeah.
2 more pros that's coming down the pipeline. So they end up with like 3 or 4 pros on that team. And
Mhm.
it's like one of those things that like what coach hasn't been able to do is consistently at the same time have 3 and 4 pros on his team. And I think
Yeah.
that's the next path. You gotta have as good of a coach as coach is. Like it's only so much he can do when he's playing against a team that has 4 or 5 pros. You know what I mean? That team's
Oh
probably
yeah.
gonna win. You know what I mean? It just matter is he can scheme. And the game may be closer than what everybody thought because of his coaching
Mhm.
ability, but you still have to have some talent. So if he can, get lucky and have those type guys with high, because coach is not going to go away from his character piece when he recruits.
Yeah.
Have to have high character, and sometimes pros come with some baggage. You know what I mean? They come with a bunch of entourage. They come with $1 and $3 million NIL. They won't come with promises that they're going to start and dad has to have a job. So it comes there, but coach is not going to bend on those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he has to get lucky with some of those guys that's potential pros, but have good character, good families behind them, because coach is big on those things. And if he can get lucky with those, I think he can break out. But coach has been around a long time. You know how it is. You just got to stick around and be in the thing to have a chance to win it. And coach has given us opportunity the last few years to be in it. So eventually, he's going to break through like that Elite Eight year. You know,
Mhm.
I think he ended up with 2 pros on that team. I think guys, maybe
Yeah.
3, right? 2 or 3 with
Two or
PJ and
three.
and
That's right.
yeah, his,
Turner. Was it
what's
Turner?
it? Um,
Um,
oh, yeah,
he was
blank.
a
He
scrappy
was in
player.
Denver and just got traded to Brooklyn.
Yep. Yep.
He's a wing, the white wing, who was
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
um,
I know. I know. I can see him just as good as day because he
yeah,
came out of
right.
nowhere. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah.
He was.
I
He
can't
was a.
remember. Yeah, had it like
Yeah.
yeah. I get and I see him every time I speak to him. Every time we play him, but like so they had those 2 guys, and then you had obviously not Dylan Chase.
Shepard.
Then you had Chase out there. You know what I mean? So you
Yep.
got
Yep.
3 guys
Chase.
that potentially could play in the NBA, and you get a good run. You know
Yep.
what I mean? If you had another guy in that mix, you probably beat. I can't remember who they played in the Elite Eight. And you get to was it Houston maybe somebody, and you get to the
Hmm.
Final Four. And then once you get to the Final Four, anything can happen on those two
Yeah.
Oh
days.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw where PJ had 30 points the other night in one of his games. I'm sitting going, wow, where was that at? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. 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 PJ, yeah, he's one of those kids. Like he's a hard worker. I was shocked, that he got an opportunity to play in the NBA. Just I just think he was big enough or athletic enough or could shoot it well enough, and
Hmm.
he for sure proved me wrong. And he's taking a different path than most pros, but NBA guys. But he's a 2-way, and he gets opportunity. I think he started against us this year and had a really good game. So he has a bright future, and I wish him well because he's a Tiger for sure.
I can't remember what I told you earlier or not, but congratulations on the win today, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah,
I
we
did.
needed
I did
it.
keep up. So
Yeah, yeah, we
step
needed it.
forward. Remember, you asked me to start watching. I kept up.
Yeah. Well, you chose a fine year to start watching. It's probably why we're getting our butts kicked every night. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll stop watching.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Too late now. Yeah, you got to go through this misery like I do now. Yeah, like Davo say, you all in now. You all in. Yeah. Yeah. Don't you
um,
be one of those bandwagon fans, with the shit
oh
goes
no,
bad. Like,
no.
yeah, I'm jumping off this ship. Yeah.
No. You mean like our 15ers?
Yeah, right. Right.
It's not hard to find them, I
Yeah.
mean, so, um, hey, Coach, it's always great having you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anytime you Jeff, I told Jeff earlier, I said, man, he was texting me back today, and I wasn't expecting the text you sent me back today because y'all had your game and everything. I'm like, hey, that made me feel good, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Made me feel good. You asked me back. You know what I mean?
Hey,
Most of the times, like, nah, we ain't bringing his ass back. You know what I
uh-uh.
mean? Yeah.
No, you have
He's
an
a one and
open
done. Yeah, he's a
invitation.
Duke player, one and done. Yeah, we don't
But
bring him
you
back.
know, you have an open invitation, and I think I speak for Jeff and myself. When I say this, anytime you want to come on, all you got to do is shoot me a text, and we will make it happen.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Um,
Appreciate
you
that.
know,
Definitely.
it's great.
Yeah.
I told my wife, I said, I never had a famous friend until now. She said, what do you mean? I said, he's an NBA coach,
And she
man.
probably said, "What's his name? I never heard of him. He ain't that famous." Yeah.
Well, you can't go by that because my wife doesn't know the difference between a touchdown and a 3-pointer.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I mean, hey, I
Yeah.
love her and she loves Clemson,
Yeah.
but she's not going out of her way to go to Clemson to watch a football game or anything like
Really.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm taking her to, we went several years ago. We went up. We had a class up in Greenville. I used to teach the Alive at 25 class before I started our driving school, or before we started our driving school. And I had a class at Greenville, so we went up for the weekend, and we stayed at one of the motels right there in Clemson, and went to, I think it was Ruth Chris
Oh
or
yeah.
whatever. It's
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
Most expensive steak I think she and I have ever split.
Yeah.
And
Right.
we
Right.
split it. But
Was it worth
now
it?
she loved it. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah, it
yeah.
was worth every penny if she
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah. Mama's happy. Happy mama, happy life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Happy
For
wife, happy
sure.
life. Yeah.
Definitely.
The sooner you figure that out, the sooner we, as dumbass men, figure that out, the better our lives are. Yeah.
And I'll
Absolutely.
be honest with you, for me, it didn't matter anyway because there were no games that weekend. It was like during over the summer, and and I don't look. I love going to Tiger Town. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I could spend time just walking around and looking at stuff, and so it was great for me too. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't want it to sound like it was I was suffering through anything here. I mean,
Right.
yeah, it's all good, man.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes,
not
it
gonna tell
is.
you that I'm sitting here wanting to go back and pay that much money for a steak anytime
Yeah.
soon.
You don't want to do that every weekend, huh?
No, no. What I thought was funny was a couple of weeks ago, my nephew was telling me said that he's got a friend that works at that steakhouse, and he was telling me said, yeah, uh, CJ Spiller brought in a group of players, and I'm sitting there going, oh yeah, okay,
Yeah.
they were whining and dining.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Recruiting weekend.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Setting
Yeah.
them up
Nowadays,
or
these
having them.
players, the money they making, Roof Chris ain't nothing to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They can eat it every weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Coach. If we're getting ready to play for a national championship in about 3 weeks, can we get you locked in for the Sunday before the national championship
Oh,
game?
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'll probably be
I'm gonna
on
go a
site.
step
Yeah.
further. All right,
If we
I'm gonna
about to
go a
play
step
for a national
further.
championship, because in the NBA they don't schedule a game for the national championship day. So if my son is getting ready to play for a national championship,
You'll
we'll
be
do that
there?
in the lobby of the team hotel.
All right.
All right, I'm gonna
'Cause
go a
I
step
will be
further.
there. Yeah, I will be there.
Let's dial it in a little bit better. I'm all in for the national championship, but how about we set it up so that after we finish up, we have you back on.
Yeah,
And
for sure, for sure.
and by the way, Big
Let's
O,
dial it back a little bit. You said?
yeah, yeah,
Yes, sir.
Let's not be
I'm all
disappointed
for
when
the
it don't happen.
championship. I'm all for the championship, and I believe we could win it. I mean, if we get lucky enough, but like you said earlier, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I did get a text from Big O earlier, and his son was dealing with some allergies. He had been out in the pollen a little bit too long today.
Okay.
He was having to help him get him straight.
Yeah.
I told him he was more than welcome to chime in if he could. But I'll go ahead and tell you, I say we say a prayer for his son and all that. So
Yeah.
and for Greg, you don't know. A Hurricane Dwayne Evans is the person that used to do all the music and everything for the Tiger Tailgate show. And I had reached out to him just before Christmas. It was December 23rd. He and I had a 45-minute conversation about nothing but Clemson,
Mm-hmm.
and he gave us permission to use this song Tiger Tales, and we're setting that up for the intro and out. Setting up some music and everything for the intro and the outro for the podcast. But over the last, February 3rd, I think it is, he had a brain bleed and has been in ICU since that time. He's still showing some signs of improvement, but they're
Wow.
they've asked for prayer, and I asked that we keep him and his family in
Yeah.
prayer.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, y'all, it's been another great show. We talked about everything from Ruth Chris to how good or how bad we looked when we came back from California to how good we looked in the ACC tournament, and the fact that we're planning a show for after we win the national championship.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I think we've covered the game.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, we
and
did. Yeah.
and as much as I hate it, because like we've all talked about, we can sit here and talk for hours. I
Yeah.
could, but I know that it's getting closer to 9 o'clock, and you remember what I said a little while ago about happy wife, happy life.
Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
My wife's going to be wondering where I'm at in just a
Yeah.
couple minutes. So,
Yeah. She goes, did he fall somewhere?
yeah, well,
Yeah.
mine's gonna be like, who are you
He
with?
know what time his curfew is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, he's like, who are you with? I'm gonna be like, two guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I gave him
uh-huh.
45
Okay.
minutes with that podcast, and he's 15
Yeah.
minutes over. Yeah.
and then it'll lead into, well, watch the podcast. No, I don't want to watch the podcast.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about sports. Well, it gives you where I was at,
Yeah.
and I
Right.
brought you up.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right. Before I get in trouble, it's all, like I said, open invitation. Anytime you want to come on, you are more than welcome to. All you got to do is shoot me a text. As soon as I see him, oh, that's my friend. So I'll be texting about
Yeah.
But hey, y'all, until next time, y'all
Yep.
remember, go Tigers.
Go
Way
Tigers.
to go, baby. Thank y'all, man. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, buddy.
Go Tigers.
Go
See you,
Tigers.
Coach.
Yep. See y'all later.